And now, since I'm human, I actually someone may invade me, so that's gonna be also. Do I have any throwable items? Like, I don't want to even equip a bow. Just throw something at her. Anything. Even like dunk pie or something. Okay. Composite bow. Big TTs are gone. No!
Thou that tarnishest the godmother's image, I am Gwyndolin. And thy transgression shall not go unpunished. Thou shalt perish in the twilight of Anorlondo.
We'll see, Shackle. In a moment, we'll see. Like, I always, you know, I usually don't kill Gwyndolin and Guinevere also, but I like Gwynboobs myself alive, but I'll check like this. Since I want to kill most bosses, at least like 90% of bosses, I actually need to check this. Yes, Milko, I missed you. I missed you. Where were you, bro? Okay, let's go down. Let's see if I can actually. I still have Priscilla. I don't really like to kill Priscilla. She's kinda nice and cute and shit and fluffy. So maybe actually on this playthrough I won't kill her. Although I wanted to kill all bosses. But then again, Priscilla, like, she's not even really important in any way. She's just a cute, fluffy little thing with bare feet, standing in the snow. So I don't really know if I'm gonna be killing her or not. I have to decide about that. As you guys can see that even though I'm cosplaying as Artorias, I'm still killing most bosses. Oh wait, this is not the... Yeah, I need to move it one more time. I'm still killing most bosses because I kind of feel that since Artorias, you know, I'm cosplaying as Artorias, but Artorias got corrupted by the Abyss, right? So it's only logical that I play kind of a... at least a bit a bad guy. Maybe not fully, because Artorias was still a knight, but at least a bit of a bad guy. And since Artorias' character is very... basically resembles a lot Guts from the Berserk manga, and Guts really wasn't that good of a guy all the time. He was kind of a dick, actually, most of the time. Yeah, I think it's open. I think you're... Yeah, it's open. So you were right that you don't have to kill... You just have to kill... big boobs to get here. You don't actually have to get the sense ring from the catacombs. That's actually good. Milko, legit question. Are there classes in the game like wizard or monk? Or you just kill shit and define what you're going to be? There are starting classes, like Shackle said. So it's basically like this. You have starting classes that determine your basic stats, your starting stats, and your starting equipment, but after that it's completely up to you. You can do whatever you want, you can do whatever build you want, you can use whatever weapons you want. It's completely determined by your actions and your preference, right? So yeah, there are classes, but those classes don't work as per se as in other games. So even if you choose a warrior, it's not like you cannot use magic. Like in Dungeons and Dragons and most other RPG games, if you go for a melee character like a warrior, you cannot use spells or other things, and you got specific skills that you can only use. Here you don't have skills. You just have stats. You can spend points, spend souls on your stats, however you want, and build your character from there. So the starting class is kind of like just a guidance who you were, who your class was, who your character was before you started, but it doesn't determine anything.
Heretic.
For some bosses,
Godmother, and now thou see fit to trample upon the tomb of the great lord.
yeah, let's wait for her to stop. Him to stop talking.
Son, Gwyndolin,
Yes, Gwyndolin, we know.
let the atonement for thy felonies commenced.
Milko, it's more like this. You can kill every boss with every tactic. Like, that's basically the idea. You can kill every boss with every tactic. And that's completely true there, right? So if you know what you are doing, you can kill any boss with any tactic, and it's not really that hard. But at the same time, some bosses are much easier with specific tactics. So it's not required. You are not required. It's not like you cannot do it, but it's much easier with a specific gear for specific bosses. So, like I said, this boss, for example, this guy is quite annoying because he teleports. So if you go with a fat build, that is slow, you actually will have much problems doing anything to him, because by the time you come close to him, he will already teleport away from you. So, it's like I said, you can do it with any setup you want, but it's definitely some setups are easier. Make it easier. Okay.
Oh, heretic, swathed in dark, an eternal curse upon thee.
I'm always in a fat build. Yeah, I'm actually always in a fat build. You know me. I'm fat. Yeah, it's one of the best things about Souls games. Like Shackle said, Milko, you can use any weapon. You can use any weapon in the game, and you can finish the game with any weapon, any build. It only is determined by your skill. If you are skilled enough to utilize it, and you know, if you are patient enough, if you have the skill to kill the bosses with certain setups, certain weapons, it all is determined by your skill, nothing else. Yeah, it's a great franchise. All Souls games are really fun and really entertaining. So if you like, I know you never played it. If you didn't play it, really think about checking it out, because it's really a great game. All of the Souls games are just great games that are really worth your time, and definitely are so much fun and so entertaining. And they have the best thing for me about Souls games, except the PvP that is quite fun and the interesting co-op system, is, I would say, the most fun thing besides that for me is the replayability. In regular RPG games, you have replayability in a way, you know, you do different stuff, like here, you use different builds, but replayability in this game is also centered around skill. So, you know, you start the game first time, you play with a heavy build, you use a heavy shield and stuff, right? And you finish the game. Later you can start playing without a shield, or without worse weapon, or without like magic, or without miracles, right? And you're gonna have less damage, it's gonna be harder for you to avoid damage. So, every playthrough, you can make it harder for yourself, because it actually requires skill to play through the game multiple times with different builds, and some builds are very hard to actually pull off. You know, to finish the game with certain builds is actually very hard and very challenging. So everything in the game really is centered around your skill and your personal ability to best the game with maybe not the most optimal setup, you know. Yeah, the story in the lore are of course great. Like I'm not even talking about that because it's so good. I think that's everyone who played the Souls games will say that the story and the lore of the is one of the best things. But at the same time, you know, I feel the amount of builds that you can use, the amount of play styles you can utilize in the game is also very strong. Definitely the lore is great, but after like 10 or 15 builds, after like 10 or 15 playthroughs, you will get to a point where you're gonna be like, okay, I know the story, and there's really not much that can surprise me, right? So even though I love the story, don't get me wrong, I love the lore of Souls games, and I like the fact that you can sometimes find things that you didn't notice earlier, which is also great. So you know, you can go to the game like the 50th time, like 50 times, and the 51st time you will go to the game, you'll actually find something in the story that you didn't find earlier. And that's great. But at the same time, you know, it's still always the same story, right? So, combining the great story with the replayability value of the multiple builds and setups and things that you can use in the game is the best thing about it. Shackle, when Milko says whale dick, he means the dragon tooth, the Havel's weapon. Because when I was playing Dark Souls 2 recently, like what, a month ago, I was doing basically a full playthrough of Dark Souls 2 and I was doing a Havel cosplay. And Milko very much liked the weapon and he compared it to a whale dick. And I guess it's kinda close, actually, how it looks. So Milko basically compared the weapon to a whale dick, and that's basically what we have. What stick basically? It's stuck with us. So Havel's hammer is Havel's dragon tooth is officially a whale dick on my stream, according to Milko. Come on, guys, come after me here. Yeah, so whale dick is Havel's weapon. The dragon tooth. And yeah, like Milko said, for him I actually have to get a pink version of that. So I have to get some mod to make it pink. I don't know if there's even something like that, but I just need to get it because Milko wants it. A pink dragon tooth, that would be quite interesting there. But you shouldn't really mind Milko, he's a perverted old man and yeah, he only thinks about two things. Whale dicks and food. Full pink dick warrior? Is that too much to ask? You want to be a full pink dick warrior? Well, if you ever play Dark Souls, you can, I guess, try to find a mod like that, Milko, like I said. So it's definitely possible. You can be the pink whale dick warrior if you want. Just need to find a mod for that. You're not old. Yeah, I hate Havel mages myself also, don't you know, I'm in the same boat as you. I prefer strength builds though. I prefer actually strength builds than dex builds. So we have a bit of a different taste. And I tested a lot of I tested a lot of strength builds myself. The whale dick, I want to say. Havel's weapon is quite good, but it's not. It doesn't have really that great scaling. In Dark Souls 1, it's good. In Dark Souls 2, it's kinda meh because the durability is very low. Which is quite weird because in Dark Souls 2, Havel's weapon is... even let me check. I think I have it, right? Do I have it? Or, yeah, I don't have it. I have it in the box, I think. Yeah, probably I have it in the box. But Havel's hammer, the Dragon Tooth, is, a dragon weapon, right? So the durability in Dark Souls 1 is incredibly high. You like 999. You basically cannot make it, get it destroyed. However, in Dark Souls 2, it's supposedly the same weapon, yet the durability is decreased, and it's like, you can destroy it with like 3 attacks, 3 R2 smashes. So, yeah. Dex Fate builds. Like, I prefer strength builds or strength Fate builds myself. So, I guess we have a similar taste, but a bit differently. Go for it. Like I said, I prefer strength builds with some Fate additional. Logan's bit hot? Yeah, Logan's cool, I guess. For me, basically, when I do dex builds, I usually go for magic, though. When I do dex builds, I usually combine them with magic. For me, usually, what I prefer is to go for strength fate builds and int dex builds. That's kind of my preference in combination of stats. But like I said, it's just my personal preference there. But that's what I prefer myself. Okay, let's go in here. Let's get the lizards. Okay, one more. It's gonna be here. Let's quit. Let's load. You found a pink mod? Wait a sec. Wait a sec, let me kill this. Let me check what you found there, Milko. A pink mod for... Yeah, exactly, Shackle. Like, Havel hated mages, that's why he created Great Magic Barrier. So Fate goes well with tank builds. That's basically my idea. That's basically why I usually go with combos like that. That's basically my thinking process there, Like, since Havel... And it's not only Havel. If you look closely, actually in the Souls games, most Fate builds are closely related to strength. Like in Demon Souls, Garl Venland, like Garl, whatever his name was, he was also related with Fate. In Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2, we have Havel, which had very high strength, so he's related with Fate. Paladin Leroy also has high Fate and high strength, so there's a lot of relations between characters with high strength and Fate in the Souls games. So that's why basically I prefer to combine them like that. But like I said, it's Soul games. You can combine them whatever you want. That's just my preference. Okay, let's get the bonfire here. Now we will actually rest and get to the... someone is doing co-op here? Interesting. Now also really like combining intelligence builds with dexterity, because I always like to have very fast weapons on dexterity, on intelligence builds. Because like usually when I do a int build, and that, like, that's just me, but usually when I do int builds, I don't spend too many points in vitality. I usually just go for very high int to have a lot, and attunement to have a lot of spells and a lot of damage output from the spells. And that means that I really don't want to get hit with heavy weapons, with slow weapons like even like, I don't know, even like with great hammers. You usually will get hit when you try to attack enemies because the weapon is slow. You'll do a lot of damage, but you still will get hit. So I prefer, like I said, to go with slower, with faster weapons that I can attack people with without getting hit myself. That's why I prefer, excuse me, intelligence combined with dexterity. So I like the Baldur's Side Sword, the BSS in Dark Souls 1, or like a regular long sword, or a katana. The Uchi katana is also quite fun for me as a dex int build. Basically, I like basically weapons like that. Yeah, I live in Poland. Yeah, I know with the Baldur's Side Sword, like fate enhancements are probably the best. But like I said, for me it's more of a preference. Like if I use Crystal Magic Weapon on my Baldur's Side Sword, it's also good. It's not as, I know it's not as good as with Fate builds, but it's still a decent amount of damage, and it still like two-shots people, so. Well, talking about one or two-shotting people. So I like it like that. But like I said, I know that with Fate, with the Dark Moon blade, the damage for the Baldur's Side Sword, or katanas even, is just ridiculous. Like 600, 800 is what you get with weapons like that, with that weapon buff. So yeah, it's quite obnoxious and can easily two-shot people sometimes. If you parry someone, like, whew. Me poor thing. Yeah. Actually, I read something very stupid today. I actually read something very stupid today, and I had a lot of laughs from it. I read today somewhere in. Can I escape you, please? Come on. Okay. I read today that some British scientists, basically people, some British guys that do things like statistics and stuff like that, did some research on living in England can be very glam. Well, at least you guys have decent paychecks, and you earn a nice amount of money for what you do. The biggest problem with Poland is it's poor. Like, it's really a poor country. We don't really earn much, and it's quite annoying in that regard. Other than that, like, it's, you know, don't have a lot of problems with my own country, but that's the biggest problem with Poland, that it's quite poor. But what I wanted to say is I actually read something very funny and stupid at the same time. Some scientists from Great Britain, so basically from England, like where you live, did some basically calculations about statistics and stuff, and they calculated that Poland has actually the fastest growing paycheck, like, you know, the amount of money people earn in every country. According to them, in Poland, the amount of money we earn is increasing the fastest in whole Europe, and that Poland actually has, you know, a quite decent income. A typical Polish person has a quite decent income, and yeah, that's kind of a bit of a weird study that they did, because, you know, I live here, I know a lot of people in different cities, and yeah, people don't really earn a lot of money in Poland, yet for some reason they made studies like that showing that people in Poland have actually, you know, good income, decent income, and that the income is increasing quite fast. So that's an interesting study they did. Hey there, Mr. Game. Ger? I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your improperly. Praise the sun, bro. Mr. Ger. I think I'm pronouncing it properly, right? Welcome to the stream, bro. Praise the sun, bros. Praise the sun. Okay, now I need to do this jump here. And the skeleton also did the jump. Cool. Let's summon Paladin Leroy! Almost Leroy Jenkins, actually. Paladin Leroy. This is probably one of my favorite NPCs in Dark Souls. Except Soler, of course. This is probably my favorite NPC. Come on, Leroy. Soler the Chosen Undead? Yeah, kinda. Hey, where is... Oh, Leroy, you asshole. You leave me here, really. And I just said I like you. Just said I like you. Son of a bitch. Come on. Come on, Leroy. Come on. I need your help with the hardest boss in the game. Hardest boss in the game incoming, guys. Yeah, I also do a Leroy cosplay often. Soler should have linked the fire. Yeah, I actually think that I would just love, if you would choose the dark ending, I would love a additional, like, you know, post-credits ending where Soler links the flame after you, if you saved him, you know? I would just love an ending like that. If you choose the dark ending, the Dark Lord ending, and the credits roll, like in Marvel movies, the whole credits roll, and after that, if you saved Soler, you'd have a scene where Soler goes in the King of the First Flame and links the flame for you. I would just love it if they did something like that, like a, you know, secret ending. If you save Soler, he does it for you. Man, that would be just so much fun. I think there's probably, like, you know, things like that done by players, but like, you know, by fans on videos and stuff, but that would be still so much fun to just see it in the game. I would fucking love it. Come on, Leroy. Hit him. Hit him. Man, Leroy is getting his ass raped. I'm also, actually. Okay. I wanted Leroy to kill the Pinwheel, but I think he doesn't want to kill him. Oh, Leroy, you disappoint me, bro. You disappoint me. A hint that Solar maybe linked the flame. Yeah, I guess the Sublime Bondas in Dark Souls 2 kinda has a description that a saint, I think it's like, it says something like a saint that linked the flame or something like that. I guess you're right there, but you know, at the same time it could be referring to basically almost anyone, right? It could be referring basically to almost anyone. I really would love them to just add a ending like that, even after such a long time. I think it would be much better, but I guess you're right there. I guess you're right that it can indicate that it's him, but at the same time it can say, you know, it can indicate that it basically can be anyone else. It can be talking about your character in the first game if you choose the Link the Flame ending. It can be talking about someone else who did that. It can be talking about Soler. Because it says, if I remember correctly, it says something like the saint that linked the flame and something like that. But I guess everyone who would link the flame would be called a saint in the Souls universe, right? So... But, you know, like I said, you know, that's just a small little thing that I would like the game to have. It's not like required or anything. Just a small thing that I would love to be in the game. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely one of the best parts of the lore and basically the whole story of the Souls games, that it leaves a lot of room for speculation and it basically allows you to create your own version of events. I love that thing, fact, you know, that it really allows you to create your own versions of what happened and you can choose whatever you want to believe. I really like that. I really dig that a lot. That it allows you to just choose whatever you want to believe in, and it's just great in that way. Man, there's people doing co-op here. Cool. Yeah, like, for me, Dark Souls also, I think I never played a game that had such an interesting and fun story as the Souls games. And I have to be honest here, I think I never played a game that had such a interesting, a cool story that I was so much into as in the Souls games. I think this is one of the best stories in RPG games ever. Overall in games, whatever games. And it, like you guys said, it allows you for so much speculation and it allows you to create your own versions of events. It allows you to basically kinda create your own universe in the same game, you know, because I can play the same game as you, we can play Dark Souls 1 and we can have our own interpretations of a certain event and we both can be right in our own imagination because there's no definite answer. There's, like, most games make the mistake that they tell you this is how it happened, deal with it. Yeah, for me always it's gonna be like this in terms of which game is, you know, what for me. I always feel that Dark Souls 1 is the PvE and story-driven Souls game. It has a great story and it has great PvE, great boss fights, especially the boss fights. I love bosses in Dark Souls 1. Even though I struggle with a lot of them, Milka is a great, viewer that always sees me struggle a lot, and he can testify that I rage a lot with bosses in Dark Souls 1. But I love the design of bosses in Dark Souls 1. I like the boss fights in Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 2 is a PvP. I like PvP much more in Dark Souls 2, and I like co-op much more in Dark Souls 2. I think it's more refined and much better, but like I said, story not really that good. Story not really that good. And not that entertaining. Dark Souls 2 has less NPC stories. I think that Dark Souls 2 has a good story, but I prefer the story of Dark Souls 1. Just because I prefer, and I also prefer enemies and boss fights, like I said, in Dark Souls 1. So I kind of have the feeling, like I said, that Dark Souls 1 is the PvE and boss fight and story Souls for me, and Dark Souls 2 is the PvP Souls for me. Yeah, it's just, like I said, it's a great game, but it's just not as good as Dark Souls 1 in terms of story. PvP is much better though, like don't get me wrong, PvP, like I said, is much better in Dark Souls 2 than in Dark Souls 1. It's definitely much better. I think the story in Dark Souls 2 lacks a special touch that would make it, as good as it should be. I think the story in Dark Souls 2 is decent. I think it's much better than most people think it is, but it's not as good as it could be. It could be if they would make some small changes. I think the story in Dark Souls 2 could be much better. Not on par with Dark Souls 1, but definitely close, I feel. Just they really didn't go with some good ideas, and it really didn't pay off for them. Okay, let's get the... Oh, not did. Why did I pick the Miracle Skull Lantern? Well, I kinda don't feel it's that much about that the original team didn't make Dark Souls 2. Cause I know a lot of people are saying that Miyazaki wasn't working on Dark Souls 2, that's why it's not as good. Miyazaki didn't work on it per se, but he did have he was in charge of that project nonetheless. So I kinda feel it's just the story just isn't as good. That's all I kinda feel. That it's just the story isn't as good, but it's not like it's not only because the original team didn't work on Dark Souls 2, you know? Yeah, he was supervising, but he was supervising it. Miyazaki was supervising it, so he had influence on everything, right? So he knew how the game turned out, he knew the story. If he wouldn't like it, he would change it. He could say, change the story, because it's not as good as it should be. So he had, at the time he was already being promoted to president of FromSoft. So he had the power to change it. It's just he didn't want to. So he, I guess, decided that it's a good enough story for him. By the way, how you guys did you guys play Bloodborne? Cause you know I don't have a PS4, so it's hard for me to judge the game myself. I'm wondering if maybe one of you guys played Bloodborne. Maybe you have a PS4 and you had the opportunity to play Bloodborne. I like I said, I did have an opportunity to play it. I only watched some other streamers, but I actually feel that Bloodborne isn't as good as it was expected to be. I kind of prefer the theme of the Souls games, to be honest, than Bloodborne. Okay, let's quit. Let's kill the lizard here. Not this character. Yeah, Dark Souls 2 is a amazing game, but definitely it lacks the atmosphere of Dark Souls 1. That's completely true there. And the boss design is definitely not the strongest suit. Like, I know a lot of people actually like the boss design in Dark Souls 2 more than in Dark Souls 1. But for me, the Souls games was always about fighting monsters and demons and, you know, things like that. And in Dark Souls 1, I had everything of that, you know. In Demon Souls also, you were mostly fighting monsters, demons, stuff like that. In Dark Souls 2, you kind of fight big guys in armors 80% of the time. Like, and I don't really like that much. That in Dark Souls 2, you really fight 80% of the bosses are big guys in armor with big weapons that try to hit you as hard as possible. And I don't really like that much myself, you know? I don't really like that much. Yeah, me the same, like I said. I don't have a PS4 myself. I probably could buy it. Like, you know, I have saved up money that I could probably use to buy it. But at the same time, I don't want to because it's just expensive, and I wouldn't feel good about spending like you know, $400 or something on one game basically, because that's basically the idea there, right? You spend all of that money to play one game. So I also you know, I maybe could afford it, but I don't really want to because it's not worth it in my opinion. If there would be a rework. If there would be a remastered version of Demon Souls on the PS4, where they would add, for example, the 5th Archstone, I would buy a PS4 then. I think for two games, for a remastered version of Demon Souls with with the 5th Archstone, that was 5th or 6th Archstone, with the giant Archstone, basically. That's what I mean basically. If that was added, then yeah, I would probably buy a PS4. A remastered version of Demon Souls plus Bloodborne, yeah, I would probably buy it, but just for Bloodborne, I don't feel it's worth it for me, sadly. Let's get this shortcut, if I die, just in case. So I'm basically in a similar boat where I cannot basically afford a PS4. Yeah, I don't think that we ever will get any of the Sony exclusives on PC, sadly. You know, it's a business model for Sony, right? They need exclusives to sell their consoles, but I hate it myself also, don't get me wrong, I hated myself as much as you can hate it. Someone invaded me? I didn't even notice that. Well, I didn't even notice someone invaded me. Oh, please! That's why Dark Souls 1 has worse PvP than Dark Souls 2. I was facing him and trying to parry him, and he was still able to backstab me, even though I was facing him. Yeah, that's like like I said, PvP in Dark Souls 1 really not that good. Dark Souls 2 has better PvP, much better PvP. And I parried him like a boss the first time, but he fucking backstabbed me like that, like a bitch, in my face. But like I said, I hate, like I was saying, I really hate the fact that they have exclusives like that. But like, I don't think that that will ever change. I think that we'll just have to deal with that. Oh, please don't do that. I didn't even notice that someone invaded me, to be honest. I didn't even notice that. Almost died there again. Oh, please! I was rolling! Fuck you, game! Like, seriously, this time fuck you. I was rolling and my character rolled only once instead of twice. Dark Magic OP, yeah, it actually is. It actually is fucking retardedly OP. You know what? I wanted to do it the regular way, but if the game doesn't want me to do it the regular way, fuck you, game! And let's cheese the shit out of it. Oh, come on, fucking hit him. I like it how he knows exactly how to avoid getting hit by me. Really? Yeah, it's almost like Shrine of Amana here. It's actually almost like Shrine of Amana. He can... Yeah. Like... Well, almost one-shotted there. By one spell. It's almost like Shrine of Amana in Dark Souls 2. But it's worse because it's dark magic and he can almost one-shot me with it. And I missed that, really. That missed him. That fucking missed him. Finally! Son of a fucking whore! Well, hexes in Dark Souls 2 are very strong, but like you said, you can actually stack Dark Resist against them. In Dark Souls 1, Dark Magic is completely... you cannot stack against it, you cannot defend against it, and because of that, it's ridiculously broken. That's why, like, if you ever watch speedrunners for Dark Souls 1, everyone is using hexes, everyone is using Dark Magic. Why? Because it's so incredibly broken. Sad truth there. Oh! If I'm gonna get killed by this guy, I'm gonna be quite mad at myself, actually. You know what? Let's ignore him for now. Let's get the bonfire and then I'll fight him again. Please, bitch! Fuck you. See ya. God almighty, man. Get wrecked everywhere. Get wrecked everywhere. Yeah, he had a strap on tied to his head. Man, I lost like 30,000 souls. I'm mad about that. Those fucking dark mages. I hate those fuckers.